Welcome. You've splash landed into this Prosecco-laden podcast, straight into the woo-woo pool with the Crew of Ohm-g. We're just a simple group of tragically imperfect and highly empathic BFFs, exploring a wide range of atypical topics with humor, grace, and curiosity. This is Ohm-g. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Today, we're going to be talking about a little astrology, or as my good friend Aaron says, can I see Uranus?
But can I?
Grab your telescope because you are live with the Crew of
Ohm-g, the Astrology Today podcast. Welcome back, y'all.
Yes, thank you guys so much for joining us. There is so much to talk about when it comes to astrology. And I am not an astrologist, astrologer, whatever they're calling them these days, but I have a fairly good working knowledge, I like to think, and I watch patterns and I study people. And we're all together here, even on this podcast, for an astrological reason in my view of things. So today we're going to talk about the big three that make up all of our personalities. And one thing that a lot of you might not know about astrology is there's so much more to it than your sun sign or the horoscope that you read in the paper. Your sun represents one thing, but every other planet could be in a different sign. If your sun sign does not resonate with you, chances are you've got a cluster in a completely different sign. There's so much to it, and a lot of people are naysayers about astrology, and I heard someone give a really good example. You can say you don't believe in astrology, but really, what you're saying is you just don't speak the language. I could say I don't believe in Latin when the truth is I just don't speak the language. Therefore, my understanding is fairly limited. So,
and this is Alexandra. I'd like to jump in real quick and say that I agree with you. If you don't resonate with your sun sign, or you don't look or decide to delve into astrology beyond reading the horoscope wherever you find it, It's like, yeah, you're not really studying the language. So if you choose to go on this journey, we welcome you. And if you don't, we'll welcome you when you do. So we'll see you later.
And again, this is an icing on the cake kind of podcast here because we're just going to talk about the big three. And I can see part 2, 3, and 4 coming down the road. So fasten your seatbelts, people. We are going to start out with your sun sign. Everyone pretty much knows their sun sign based on the day that you were born. Your sun is your outlook on the world, your creative self, your life purpose. A lot of astrologers believe your sun sign is something that you tend to grow into. My sun sign, I was born in September, is Virgo. That can be detail-oriented. It can be analytical. It can be hypocritical and judgmental. There is good and bad to every single sign. A lot of times, if you are, for example, a Virgo sun, you might pull in people with Virgo moons or with planets in Virgo. It just depends. There are so many different aspects and caveats to the whole thing. But everyone tell me here in our little circle, what is your sun sign? What are your thoughts about it? What do you know about astrology? Starting with Aaron.
So my sun sign is a Sagittarius. Where my people at? And I, for the most part, it do resonate with my sun sign. The more, I don't know a whole lot about astrology, but the more that I read and research and kind of find out things, I think I identify a lot with my moon sign, which I know we'll get to later. But I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, your sun sign is often how the world sees you. Nope, sorry, that's rising. Okay. And the moon sign is how you see yourself, right?
We'll get into that.
Okay, all right. So anyways, but oftentimes when I read my horoscope or whatever, as it relates to Sagittarius things, it checks out a lot of the time and makes sense.
And it does when I look at you and watch you in motion. Sagittarius kind of rules humor, y'all. It rules travel and philosophy. And a teacher who's a Sag is an engaging teacher that involves their students. So I'm going to hang up Mr. Aaron's son with that. What about you, Cassandra?
This is Cassandra. And I'm a Gemini, shocker. We got the gift for gab.
Got the
Oh.
Yes, the gift for gab. And
and ADD, but go ahead.
all day, every day. Yeah, I had a friend when I was younger that kind of joked with me that, it was good that I was a Gemini because like the bipolar, and very much I do feel that I can, like, the emotions shift very, very quickly.
Mhm.
Like I can go from really, really happy to almost kind of feeling like anxiety or depression, like
Oh, yeah.
like flipping a switch. Like I really do feel that kind of like alter ego personality kind of thing. But that's really about the most that I resonate with Gemini. And astrology for me is like, it's one of those things that fascinates me. And I try, I really try,
Uh-huh.
but it's one of those languages that as I'm reading it, it kind of makes sense. But then once I read it, it just leaves my mind. It's like I can't keep that comprehension
Yeah.
of it
Resonates with me too.
later on.
So it's not a focus in your life, and that's fine.
So I'm perfectly happy to have Camillionaire as a friend, so I can go, Camille, what's this planet doing right now? Because I feel X, Y, or Z. So it's really helpful to have someone that just, I feel like you intrinsically, like just innately understand the language of astrology.
Ever since childhood. And, Gemini is ruled by Mercury. So when that little planet does its backward boogie called Mercury retrograde, collective groan, Geminis get affected.
Right.
But you're adaptable. You're lively. You can turn on either side of your personality in a crowd. That's a Gemini trait right there. So
I
Miss
feel that.
Rosalie, a Pisces.
I am a Pisces, which is the symbol of the fish. And I love the ocean. I'm attracted to the ocean. I love water. I tend to surround myself with people that I love, and kind of like in a school. Fish always travel in a school. So I feel like I always have a
Little tribe of other fish.
tribe of other fish with me. I really don't, we haven't read my horoscope and read my horoscope, but
Right.
it's there, and I love to get insight,
Yeah.
like when things are happening, but I don't understand a lot about it.
And
But
that's
I'm fascinated,
okay.
and I'm fascinated by it all.
And you have definitely a lot of Pisces traits, even though you're big three, you've got two other different signs. The ultimate nurturer, the dreamer,
Yep.
probably easily hypnotized, that kind of thing, just intuitive. Yeah. And we've got two Pisces here in our group, but we don't get to that right now. Brenda Sue.
So Brenda Sue, Jean Louise, Jolene the third here.
That's her.
And I am the other Gemini twin.
With all those names, it makes sense. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it's funny because I never really resonated with the Gemini. Like whenever I'd read the characteristics, like not
Yeah.
dependable, flighty, all those things, I thought, I'm not any of those things. You can count on me as a friend, and I'm not going to be, but I do resonate with being two different people at the same time.
Mhm. It's a
Like
blessing and a
Chandra.
curse.
Yeah. But I like my Gemini side, but I think I resonate more with my rising sign.
Okay.
Hmm.
And a lot of people feel that way. And I definitely have something to say about that. Alexandra, our other Pisces.
Hi. So I've always very much had a fascination in astrology from when I was little because I've always resonated so strongly with my sun sign. And the more that I get into my astrological journey and like understanding not just what's going on astrologically currently, but also like delving more into my natal chart and understanding about this, it's such a deep exploration of who I am. And I'm saying that I'm so much more than just my sun sign. I still resonate and love my Pisces side. I think it's gifted me a lot in my life, and I use that. So I love astrology. And I think it very vibes with my Pisces self. I'm like, yes, the deep mysteries, secrets, let's get it to it.
Yeah, that's totally
I'm
you.
feeling my sun today, y'all.
Mhm.
And you talked about what your sun sign is, right? You said Virgo.
Virgo.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm. And a lot of astrologers actually fall under that sign because we like to take things and put them into boxes and organize them and look at patterns and things like that. So makes sense.
Yeah, it totally does. So let's take a break, and then when we come back, we're going to talk about our rising signs, right, or our moon signs.
Both.
Okay.
Big 3 day, baby.
All right. We'll be back in just a minute, y'all.
Hi, this is Chandra. Brenda and I would like to invite you as part of our podcast community to join us on either Facebook or Instagram Live each Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern U.S. time, where we give free oracle readings for fans of the show. Just follow us on our OMG Podcast Facebook or Instagram page. You can post or DM us your questions there each week with the hashtag #WooWooWisdom, and then tune in at 11 a.m. each Friday on our page to watch your free reading. If you can't join us live, don't worry. You can always catch it on the replay. This is just our way of saying thank you for being part of our Woo Woo family. Hope to see you this Friday.
All right. We are back and we are rolling. And now we're going to move on to your moon sign. It's a little bit more personal than the sun sign because, as we know, the sun changes signs every month-ish or so. The moon actually changes every couple of days. The moon is your inner self, your private thoughts and impulses, how we feel, intuition, emotions, vulnerability, the voice in your head, and sometimes your initial reactions to others. My moon is actually in Scorpio, same as my rising sign. And it's funny because a lot of us in this group have a lot of Scorpio placements, and that is very common, just like Pisces or Cancer, because those water signs are very intuitive. And we tend to be drawn to the underworld and the pseudosciences, as they're sometimes called. So, what do you know about your moon sign, Mr. Aaron?
I know.
Aaron.
Aaron, that's me. I know, girl, that my moon is also in Scorpio.
Uh-huh. There ain't no rest for the wicked, y'all.
Absolutely not. I feel like almost 50-50. Like I identify with my sun sign a lot, but I also identify with my moon. My rising, not so much. I don't see a lot of those characteristics, which we'll get to, but being my emotional self, being intense, passionate, and a bit dramatic. Hi, hello. I mean,
Have we met?
Have we met? And then talking about like finding it difficult to trust others and having like a deep, like your darker emotions are always kind of like repressed or like hidden.
Yeah.
You deal with those yourself. And I feel like a pattern that's come up a lot recently has been to focus more on my serious side or my serious self because I quote unquote rely on humor or use humor as like a coping mechanism for things.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of like, not that I'm a comedian, please don't get it twisted, but a lot of like comedians and people, you know, like, I mean, rest in peace, like Robin Williams, for example, right, was hilarious and very talented and whatever, but
very tortured inside.
Very tortured, yeah. So that kind of resonates with me.
Mm-hmm.
Scorpio.
Mm-hmm.
They're also the obsessive thoughts as well.
I think I recently read, perfectly put, the oversexed psychopath.
Yes.
But it also rules the phoenix from the flame. They are the kings and queens of rebirth.
Don't get me wrong, I love Scorpios.
Yeah, I think I'm like healthily sexed and like psychopath. Verdict's still out on that. But
Only in my head.
Only in my head.
Don't let that one out.
What about you, Cassandra? What's your moon?
I think it's Cancer. Is that right?
Your moon is in Cancer. And I'm going to just say something right here about Miss Chandra and her Cancer moon.
Oh, Lord.
Her name means moon, number one.
Mm-hmm.
She loves her moonstone. Moon is the ultimate mother, the nurturer. And she would probably throw a crystal at me about right now because I know that she does not see herself that way. But again, we go back to heavy water sign influence in our little group. It's very empathic.
Yeah, I know. I totally resonate with that. It's like, I do understand the maternal side,
Right.
but that part of me is not like toward necessarily, the mothering that I do feels more, it's like mothering of thoughts, mothering of ideas,
Yes.
creativity. Like, I feel like that's where,
still mothering.
yeah, where that maternal side of me kind of like exhibits itself. So I do, and I get what you're saying, because kids not going to happen, but I can resonate with that.
Yeah.
That portion of myself. I just know that I direct it in other ways.
You've given birth to some wonderful ideas. So
Yeah. And beautiful friendships.
Yeah.
I love you.
And you have a kitty child. So,
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
you nurture your cat.
No,
And
absolutely. I do.
Soon to be puppy child. Jason.
I do love the animals, little animals.
Yeah.
No, your fur baby.
Yeah.
They're babies.
Okay. So next we have Miss Rosalie, and her moon is in Aquarius. What do you know about Aquarius?
Isn't
No, Aquarius is the water bearer, but it is an air sign,
okay.
like Gemini and Libra. So tell me what you know, and then I'll tell you what I know about Aquarius.
I honestly just assumed Aquarius was a water sign. I
Me
did
too.
not realize
Many
it
people
was an
do.
air, but So
And I know you can't see this at home because you're listening, but Brenda set down her glass of Prosecco on the table in shock and said, I thought that was a water sign. She's really got a kick out of that.
So honestly, I don't know much about my Aquarius. I just assumed the song Age of Aquarius pops into my head. And you know, I love that song.
They're the way showers right now for this new earth that we're trying to.
Humanitarians.
Yes.
We're about to have a rebirth of the age of Aquarius. Apparently, we have to hit rock bottom first before that happens. But it's coming. And Aquarius, to me, is all things new and innovative, technology. I heard a joke once that it's not blood that runs through their veins, it's computering, or printering, rather, printering. But yeah, they tend to be really good at leading the way, outstanding in a group situation, that kind of thing, and forward thinkers.
Yeah, I definitely see the humanitarian side.
Oh, yeah.
That comes
Very
out
much
very
a
strong.
philanthropist.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a sign that rules groups and influence within groups. And yeah, I think
I see that.
Huge humanitarian.
And you used to be a teacher. So
yes.
I was a teacher, yeah.
And isn't your son an Aquarius? Sun sign?
He's Pisces.
February. Around
Yeah, she's Pisces.
February. I'm Pisces.
Oh, she meant sun,
my son.
S-O-N, not S-U-N.
S-O-N.
S-U-N. Are we talking my
Your little boy.
my little boy?
I think 3.
You're grown,
February
man.
11th. I
I was
can't remember
about
what
to
his
say.
sign is.
Yeah, okay.
I was supposed to say, Cam, we just talked about this. You know she's a Pisces.
Put down the Prosecco.
Yes.
I think you need to go back to our crystal episode and find
Aquarius.
some memory.
He is an Aquarius.
Excellent.
February the
Okay.
11th. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
But he's a fairly forward thinker.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's what I see in those people.
Anything technology, he
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
loves.
technology.
Yes.
Yes.
That's huge for him.
He will help in your old age. Bravo to you.
Yeah. Excellent.
Okay. And moving on to the moon sign of our friend,
Brenda Sue.
Brenda Sue. And oh, this moon sign fits her perfectly. And I pull in so many people in this life.
Yeah. So I'm
What is it?
Aries.
Thank you.
Yes.
She's like, sitting on the edge of the seat.
I've got the fire.
Ooh,
The fire.
The fur.
So I think for me, like I meant moon, not rising sign that I identify with. 'Cause
Okay.
I identify with Aries a lot with that whole like,
Yes.
man, if you piss me off, y'all, let me just tell you.
Mm-hmm. She
And,
come with the Rams.
That's right.
That's Aries, right? The little
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's not good.
and it's,
That's not good.
It's not pretty, y'all. It's not pretty.
well, you know, every single sign has their good and bad.
Mhm.
I mean, the yin and the yang. But one thing about Aries, and especially Aries women, because like I said, I pull them in. My friends, my mother, my sister, they're everywhere. Probably because they're nowhere in my chart. So sometimes we pull in what we lack. But they are the ones with the machete in front of the group, chopping down things to get us all through the woods. They are the pioneers. It does rule the ego. Sometimes they can be very, very blunt, but that's a fire sign thing, you know? That's an Aries and
Yeah.
Sag kind of
I
thing.
think that
I
also-
resemble that.
Yeah.
You highly resemble that
Can that
remark.
also be a Gemini thing? The bluntness?
Mercury rules speech, does it
Well,
not?
there you go.
Sometimes it got to come out.
And
Yeah.
some of that has to do with the modality of Aries as well.
Yeah. But I mean, the thing is, you can't say, for example, oh, Taurus is stubborn. Other signs can be stubborn too.
Yeah,
it's
of
just an
course.
inclination. And we all have so much in common. I mean, my gosh, there's only 12 signs. The way you're raised can also affect that and how you
Sure.
perceive and how you react.
Yeah.
Or how that personality trait exhibits itself. Because you can take the same
Mhm.
personality trait and someone who's had this experience, it will come out in one way, and a person who's had a separate, different experience may,
Right.
show that or represent that in a totally different way.
Absolutely.
So as you guys can see, there's a lot to go down and there's more layers to unpack in every aspect. I mean, you figure out one layer and you automatically go, you're like, okay, what's the next thing about this?
Mhm.
Let me learn more about that because it is just an ever unpacking box.
Yeah.
And so when we come to Miss Alexandra's moon sign, this is kind of where we click. What is yours, darling?
I'm a Virgo. And so your moon is like where you're most comfortable, who you are when you're alone or like in your friendships. And that is organization, detail.
Mhm.
I like knowing things, which is funny because it is a mutable sign and I'm very good with change once
Mhm.
change happens.
But no
Like,
surprises, please. Plan your change.
It's a
Politely,
forward
universe, you've given me a giant kick in the ass and I was not too happy about it. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to cap all of this off with rising sign. A lot of people think that this is more you than anything else, more than your sun, more than your moon. The reason we need to know your birth time and place to know your rising sign is because this is the sign on the eastern horizon, the moment that you're born, and it changes constantly. This can be how others perceive you, how you make your first impression when you walk into a crowded room, any defense mechanisms that you have. And so we do have a little plethora in our midst here of Scorpio risings. That would be myself and Chandra and Alexandra.
Wow.
Wow.
Is it really
Wow.
that surprising? I like change and hard things with my 3 big ones. I'm like, oh, change, something complex, something hard. I'm like, let's dig into it.
But again, the phoenix from the flame.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Once a
Lovely.
Scorpio person gets fed up or wants a change, you will not stop them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
So-
also heard the rising sign described as like how you present to the world, what people will see you as more. So
Like your
before I
mask.
really before I really delved into, more of the astrology, I was like, oh, I'm Pisces only. But then you go into like, oh, well, now I see why people would say I present more as a Scorpio or I don't, I was like,
But both are water signs
Oh,
and they
yeah.
have things in common. So that kind of adds a little oomph to your.
but death, sex, and transformation and
Yes.
taxes. All around Scorpio.
And don't forget revenge. Don't ever piss us off.
For sure.
kind of wrapped up in the other ones, right?
But that does really resonate with me because I've had people comment on the fact that I'd be very long suffering, but once you hit the line,
Yep.
Mm.
when I'm done, I am
That tail comes out.
done.
The Scorpio.
Right. And there's and it's almost like object permanence. It's
Mhm.
like once I'm done,
Yeah.
You're never coming back.
you don't exist.
Yes.
Like I can turn
You cut the
and go
cord.
the other way.
Yep.
Yep.
And it's like it never happened.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel like with Scorpios, it's like we don't know where the line is, but we know once you've crossed it. So we can't
Exactly.
communicate to you
Ooh.
where this line is,
Good
but
point.
you've gone past it and
Right.
you are fucked.
Right.
Yeah. Once the line has been
Yeah.
has been taken,
Mhm.
Right.
there's no retrieval from there. So
And it's it's not my problem to try to explain that line to you.
No,
You know, like that's your issue.
but again, I've been told it's like it's the long suffering, like it takes a while for you to get there, but
Yeah.
once the line has been crossed.
So
I
that's
do-
Chandra, Aaron.
Mm-mm.
No,
Rising. So Camille, Alexandra, Chandra,
All Scorpio
Scorpio.
rising.
Aaron, and I both have moon in Scorpio. So
okay,
he-
a lot of Scorpio.
this-
Yeah.
Mm.
That's very typical when it comes to the woo. Very typical.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
What aspect of the Scorpio makes them like inclined to the woo sciences?
Death, sex, and transformation.
Yes.
Not taxes.
I mean, I think that death and sex is all about the occult and like
Mhm.
really
Mhm.
diving into the mystery of the secret in a different way, I would say, than Pisces.
Yeah.
But it is like, hi, let's get into the nitty gritty. Makes sense. It's ruled by Pluto.
The god of the underworld.
Ah.
But it gives you a curious fascination.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Okay. That
like I
makes-
said, just
that
don't
makes
piss
sense.
them off.
Yeah.
I want some Scorpio.
I know. I think I would either.
You
could
pull
take
them
some
in
of
like
mine.
crazy though, Ro.
Yeah.
So we pull in
surrounded by
yeah.
Scorpios.
Yeah.
Aaron's husband.
Mm.
So if we're moving on to Mr. Aaron's rising sign, Taurus,
I'm a Taurus.
steady, dependable, stubborn AF.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
A love of beauty and
Yes.
security and material things.
Sensuality.
Mhm.
I saw
Get down with your bad self.
Ruled by Venus.
Ruled by Venus, and I saw a funny blurb in one of my favorite astrology books. Taurus, they want a roll in the hand or a roll in the hay.
Mm. Okay.
it.
Well, don't tempt me with a good time on a Wednesday.
So
Yeah.
how do you
I
feel
got that.
about that, Aaron?
I feel like it resonates. I mean, like to Alexandra's point earlier, I guess it's like sort of like the mask that you present to other people.
Yeah.
Even if I feel like most of it's
You could be
subconscious.
breaking down, but you might appear as
Oh.
steady and
Oh, yeah,
reliable and a rock.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting because I think of myself as being very lax, very go with the flow, very like open to whatever, okay with change. But then I'm like, Aaron, no, bitch. Like, you are stubborn. And like, if you have some idea in your mind or some way of how something's going to be, like, it will be that way, or you will, like, your Scorpio moon comes out and you're dramatic and you're intense and you're, well, okay, I guess you just hate me then. Or what, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't know. So I think that's interesting for you guys, like, for my mass, do you think that I am reliable, settled, sensible, and deliberate?
I think you're all, everything. I'm not sure about the deliberate.
Yeah, I agree
But
with
His
that.
life ain't over yet.
That's right. But the sensible and
Yeah.
being dependable,
Mhm.
100%.
Yes, absolutely.
That makes
I see
sense.
that. Yeah.
And you know, one thing I like about this that's kind of cool, and I think that Rosalie and Aaron have this in common with their big three. Aaron is fire and water and earth. Rosalie is water and air and fire.
Mm.
A lot of us will just be earth and water or a whole lot of air. I mean, I'd call that a very nice balance.
Yeah, Alexandra and I
So-
got together recently and went through my chart. And
Oh,
I texted my mom a few weeks ago to make sure that my CoStar app was accurate.
Uh-huh.
That's also another app, not sponsored, but plug them. CoStar, COSTAR, if you're interested in astrology or finding your chart or
Just the basics to chew
Yeah.
on. It's
Mhm.
perfect.
very
Yeah.
interesting to have your horoscopes. You can follow other friends and your partner to see like what to avoid or what to emphasize or whatever. It's
Mhm.
very cool. But so anyways, I was born around 2 p.m. on my birthday and we typed in 12
12
noon
p.m.,
by
yeah.
accident. And she was like, oh, Aries? I was like, no, that's not right. That's not right. And so we changed it. And yeah, but a lot of it made
Yeah.
sense. And she was like, you're very balanced in your chart.
Well,
Like,
some people have that and others just have clusters,
yeah.
you know, but we all incarnate based on what we need to work on. And we've already talked about Scorpio rising with Chandra, and I can totally see this in you.
Yeah.
A lot of people are intimidated by the sign just upon first meeting.
Yeah.
And you kind of present that. You've got a very direct stare. You make eye contact. You're not, even if it's bluffing, even if you're not feeling it that day.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes.
So
like
that's
the
very
conditioning
typical.
of corporate America too. Like you have to fight or flight constantly.
Oh,
I feel
yes.
like, you know?
But I was always, it did come, having that mask did come very easily to me. Like people,
Yeah.
the people that knew me
Mhm.
were very shocked that I was a manager of people. Like,
Wait, girl, what?
What?
That's
Like-
hilarious.
you can do that without like cussing somebody out every other day. And I'm like it's
Yeah.
like I walk into that environment and it's like,
You put
whoop.
that cape on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I put
Mhm.
on that persona and
Yeah.
yeah.
The Scorpio cape.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh.
Scorpio Cape. So
I
wait.
do feel like the Scorpio portion of me was my superpower
Mhm.
because it's like I can do the thing, I can be present,
Yeah.
and I don't have to get personal with it at all.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like everything
Detachment is key.
Yes,
Yeah.
That is a good trait. I wish I had
everything
that.
that's important to me is over here in this little
Yes.
bucket, but I can be
I can compartmentalize that.
yes,
And-
Yeah.
yes.
So do we have Ro and Brenda left? for
Yes.
Rising? Okay.
With Rosalie, Sagittarius rising.
Hey, Queen.
And it fits her perfectly. It fits her perfectly because she kind of cherishes and relishes travel and adventure
Mhm.
I'm learning.
and running. I mean, it's the sign actually of the athlete. And
Yeah.
That's me.
Brenda's pointing at me. Hey, y'all. That's comical.
okay, so Prosecco consumption is an athletic sport.
It should be. And I would have gotten at least the bronze medal. I run away from exercising, y'all. Hell no.
12-ounce curls count. 12-ounce curls.
Exactly
count.
right.
You got the earth and water. Okay.
Yes.
But to me,
Sorry,
it
guys.
suits you.
Yep.
I mean, you're
I
a
see
pretty
that.
fit person and eyes on the horizon. I definitely see you that way. And I think it complements you very nicely.
You're
A
also very
well-balanced.
curious.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
And she's like, always like, oh, have you learned? Have you heard? Do you know?
Right.
Mhm.
We were having a
Yeah.
business meeting one day for the podcast to come up with, things we have to do, content and then bills, etc. And we were like, wait, where's Ro? And so we FaceTime her and she's like, oh shit, I'm out for a run. I forgot it's happening. And she's literally like out for a run. And we're like,
running.
who is this
She was
woman?
running from her problem.
She's FaceTiming us for a business meeting on a run. I'm like, girl, work.
I was like, that's too much dedication.
about that.
You all secretly wanted to be here in that moment.
Yes.
Yeah, I did. That would be awesome.
Okay, y'all. So, Brenda Sue,
Mm-hmm.
rising Libra.
Yeah, that's one I have not identified with. And
Oh, I see
and
it.
Alexandra's over here like, yeah, I see it.
I didn't mean it. I see it in a good way because
Oh, I
feel
see it.
Libra and Gemini can be very like connected in some ways. Like they're very similar in the sense that you've got this duality of like the Gemini, the twins, but then you've got the Libran, which is like the balance. And so where sometimes Geminis can be like scattered and get bored easily,
Mhm.
Libras look at both sides of every part of it. And
Yep.
I totally see that in you. And
Mhm.
you can see you talk about it. And I love Librans. They're pretty.
I don't know that much about Libra. so
Ruled by
maybe-
Venus, just like Taurus is.
Oh, yes.
Love,
Yes,
peace, and
yes.
harmony.
Yeah.
Relationships.
Yeah.
I love librarians too, y'all. They're the best. Help me find books.
But Brenda, that is definitely one of your superpowers. Is you can build relationships out of nothing. Like you
Yes.
can bring the right people together.
Yes.
Yeah.
You brought
We
the
would not all be
together.
sitting here without Brenda Sue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like she's the hub of our wheel for
And
sure.
you
So
look at both sides of things and you have these interesting conversations because you can see both.
Well, and you
ends.
can-
leads to very
you can always-
beautiful friendships.
you can see personalities. Like
Mhm.
like you knew that Camille would bring out a part of me. Like you can see how people. What's the word I'm looking for? Y'all help me out. How people
Conduit?
connect.
Complimentary.
Complimentary.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
like you knew that the two of us would complement each other, so you made sure that we met. Like you see those parts of people
Yeah.
and are able to like put pieces together to make.
I wonder if you should be a matchmaker.
Okay, that is a very
Yes.
Libra quality
Yes,
right
let's
there.
do it.
That
Libra
Sounds
rules
so much
partnership.
fun.
A woo-woo matchmaker.
Perfect.
I think
An
we've got your first two
idea has
clients.
been spawned.
Y'all don't steal our idea. Don't
Right.
steal our
You do your
idea.
first 2 clients, Camille and Alexandra. Let's
Right.
get to work on that, and then we'll
I do.
Yeah.
I am good at seeing how people fit together. Like
yeah.
I
And seeing the
saw
red-
that with Camille and Rosalie whenever they were coming for massage and boo.
Mhm.
And I saw the two of them. I was working on her, and I saw Camille's face pop up.
Hmm.
But I always thought that was my Gemini side.
Yeah.
You never
I think they
know.
work
You're a
little
good
bit hand in
combination.
hand. They complement and fill in the gaps where Gemini falls down, Libra picks up. Where your Libra falls down, your Gemini picks
Mm.
Well,
up.
that's what I was thinking. Like I was wondering if like, yeah, you may have that quality as a Gemini, but because you have this aspect of your rising or your, of your moon, like
Mhm.
that would almost like supercharge this
Yeah.
aspect of your
Oh,
sun.
yeah.
Does that happen?
Yeah, between rising and sun,
Mhm.
they can pick up where one falls down.
Absolutely.
I wanted to say something interesting while we're talking about rising real quick, is that I had read, interestingly enough, so people who don't identify with their sun sign and read horoscopes, you might actually want to read your rising sign.
Yep.
I mean, you probably should read your big 3, but because horoscopes are written with the sign that it's talking about in the first house, that's where your rising is,
Yep.
which it should always come with a disclaimer saying, hey, you should read your rising, and but it doesn't. So do that. That's really fun. And
Yeah.
That's a great idea. It's like to kind of maybe even read the big 3.
Yeah.
Right? And then you might get like an overall bigger picture.
I agree, because I think sometimes, like you were saying, people just read their sun sign because they think that's all that it is to astrology.
Correct.
It
Yeah.
turns
Yeah.
them
So
off
much
if they
more.
don't identify with it. They're like, oh, this is a bunch of hoopy.
Hoopy doopy doo.
I didn't just have a stroke. I'm still with us. Hoopity poopity, I think is what I meant to say, but that doesn't even make sense.
Gobbledygook.
Gobbledygook. But they give up and throw their hands up in the air. Whatever.
Right.
And yeah, I think reading your moon and your rising sign would help to kind of have you for you to
a fuller
understand it.
picture of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I want to make a quick disclaimer here. What we've been talking about is like tropical Placidius astrology, which is very different than sidereal astrology. And that is a whole other beast. So
There are so many pieces to that astrology pie, let me tell you.
Brenda jumped back 5 feet, and it was not that she was offended at how large the word was. It's again that astrology language, because it is there's so
So
much
complex.
and
Yeah.
complex that's like
Ifs, ands, and
interesting.
buts all through it.
You know what? You know who you can. Wow.
Sorry,
And what's the title?
can I see Uranus? I
Ifs,
pictured-
ands, and buts.
Well, I just had my dad, shout out Kenny, this is Brenda's brother, so we all, connect. But he growing up would say, well, if we didn't get something we wanted or whatever, he would say, well, if ifs and buts were fruits and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. And I just heard him say that. So love you, Dad. Ridiculous. But sorry, go ahead, Brenda. What were you gonna say?
I don't even know anymore. I think we're going to have to do a part 2 of this.
I think we are.
I think
Well,
we-
there are so many planets, and we don't even talk about houses yet. Goodness.
Yeah.
and then your asteroids.
Oh,
Powerful little beings.
I see
Asteroids.
several episodes.
Mm-hmm. Alexandra gonna take the lead on that one
I
because
love that.
she got some super planetary nation astrology coming y'all's way in part 2.
For Mars is in platypus, but that is another episode. And I hope you guys tune in because we haven't covered all the signs at all. We're just a little cluster of some of the same stuff, and that is why we are here together. Hallelujah.
That's right.
Amen.
Amen.
And y'all, I guess we got to wrap this episode up because Camille might be late for her next CAT scan.
No.
We-
That's another episode too. That's the lady doctor.
But get it. Anyways, y'all, thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.
Thank you for joining us today. Please follow and subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, and leave a review. It's so easy to do and such a huge help for us. We appreciate your interactions so much. Want to join us at our table? Make sure to check out our YouTube channel and join our Facebook community. If you've enjoyed this content and wish to support us, take a look at our Patreon page. All information and links will be in our podcast description. Catch you next time.
This podcast is part of the Sound Advice FM network. Sound Advice FM. Women's voices amplified.